understood the assignment on sideward choreography on beam and what you're supposed to do. It wasn't just Melanie being like, "Dear Americans, this is how you do it," which I did feel like a lot of this competition was a letter called "Dear Americans, learn from me."
Remember, the show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two.
Simone is back at camp. It's happening, you guys. Chuso has withdrawn from Worlds. Melanie de Jesus dos Santos and Kayla DiCello competed at American Classic. This is the 27th episode of 2023. It's July 10th, and welcome to the #1 gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. And I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. Welcome to Inga, our winner of the commission giveaway, the full episode. So we did this to thank our Club Gym Nerd members for supporting us. And oh my God, you guys, it only took her like 5 minutes to get back to us and she thought it was a joke. She was like, is this someone pranking me that I won? And so she confirmed it and already ordered her commission. And it is, you guys, we're going to try to do it before US Classic when we go to, or I'm going to go to Classic, and we have all like multiple episodes coming up from Classic and from US Championships, because we give you all the behind the scenes in a podcast every single day. But her commission, Spencer, would you like to tell the people about?
Well, I feel like, should we keep it a secret?
Oh,
I know. I think we need to tease it. All I will say, I'm not going to say what this commission is. I will say, Jessica told me what it was, and I responded, my dream episode.
This is how you know this was a brilliant idea to give this away to Club Gym. Remember, because it's like she knew how to fulfill all of Spencer's dreams and something we've talked about doing for years. And she's like, boop, this thing. And her membership was a gift, by the way. That's how she got it. So if you guys want to give one as a gift. Now, the headlines. Spencer.
Let's go. Yeah.
Who posted a picture of themselves from camp?
Oh, I don't actually know, because I don't follow anyone on
social
media.
Oh my God.
But I have seen pictures from camp. I don't know who posted them. I have seen them. And it feels like very retro in like the years of like someone posting like one picture from camp and everyone trying to like circle faces to see who they can identify and be like, I see Briley Casanova. So it felt like that, but we did see Simone in the lineup, because we're still doing lineups. No reason. You could sit like normal humans or equals, but no, lineups. We saw Simone. Who else did we see? I noticed Simone, and then I was like, Simone's there.
Zoe Miller, Nola.
Yeah. Jordan Childs. I saw Jordan Childs.
Yeah. So yeah. I think we didn't see Suni, though, in the lineup, right? So we didn't see her. I think it's interesting that I wish USAG would just, the minute you take the picture, just put the roster out. I mean, instead of why wait? Just put the roster out the minute everybody arrives, check them off a list, and put the roster out. I don't think it's like a big deal to put the roster out. Anyway, alas, I can only do so much, everyone. So, Simone's back at camp. The gang is back together. Pictures.
Simone was in them.
Yes.
National team camp, which followed immediately after American Classic, which was a competition over the weekend, which we'll talk about in a bit after we do some headlines.
Yes. I feel for all those coaches that are just stuck in Texas in this unbearable heat and the gymnasts, for all of
Most of them live there.
No, but listen, but
they're stuck in Texas because that's where they live, and they drove like an hour to.
But the ones that have to they had kids in the Classic week. Now they have to stay for camp, and they're just like, we're gonna live. And there's 100. Someone told me 111. 111. But there's humidity there. That's uncalled for. It's not okay. Anyway, we told you guys last week that Trinity Thomas has come back to Elite. She finally announced that she is coming back to Elite. Per the AP, Will Graves, she is petitioning to the November camp. So no meets this year, but will petition to November camp, which, duh. So Worlds withdraws. This is very upsetting. I want to know all your thoughts on it. I'm shocked.
Have many. So we talked about multiple times through the World's qualification process, we were following Chuso because she could have qualified on bars, which she ended up doing. But when the first list came out, no Chuso on bars, she was listed on vault, the good one, to compete on vault at Worlds. Update of the list is released by the FIG. Chuso gone from the vault list as well. So now we have no Chuso registered for Worlds, which it eliminates one of the avenues we were talking about for Chuso to qualify for the 2024 Olympics. Not all of them. There's still the 2024 Apparatus World Cups. So all of our eggs are now in that basket because it's very important that Chuso qualify to another Olympics. But she's off the list for Worlds as of this week, as is Sydney Barros, who qualified as the top qualifier for representing Puerto Rico at the Pan American Championship now. So she is off the list as well. Second straight year that the top qualifier from the Pan American Championships has had to withdraw, because Taisha Mattis was the top qualifier for Jamaica last year, and then she wasn't able to compete at Worlds. So
per the Olympic channel, Iordache, who we saw doing some training, we thought, she's posting trainings of her doing some bars. You don't need ankles for bars. You only need ankles one time for bars. So that's the way to go. She confirmed that she is not actually coming back. She kind of trained, tried, and then was like, she made an Instagram post about it.
I really enjoyed her description of the reasonings in that the Olympic channel piece. I really identified it. I liked it a lot. Where she was just basically just like, you guys, it is too much of the training. I have a job. I have to coach athletes. The traffic to go to physical therapy. I was just like, yeah, I get it. I guess she was like, I can't, you guys. It's too much. Definitely not the first elite gymnast to have like traffic as a significant reason why they stopped competing, but maybe the first to admit it.
The thing about this is, I don't know why Romanian Gymnastics wouldn't have just been like, stop everything. We will increase your salary, pension, apartments, whatever you have, and go ahead and just see if you can come back, and then we'll hold your jobs for you, and you could come back and do those after you see. I mean, that's what I would do if I was Romanian Gymnastics, even if she just came back on bars. And then you just have her do only routines over the pit until literally the day of the meet. And then someone could just throw her onto the bars and then catch her on her dismount so she doesn't have to lose her ankles. Lose them, use them. That's the best case scenario.
We'll see.
All right. Other people that have been added to the Classic roster. So this week was the American Classic, and then that's big Classic is the U.S. Classic.
It's very helpful. It's so clear and easy to differentiate which competition is which.
Right? It is. So one is in Chicago, one is just like in a club. It's always just been at a club. You could buy tickets and go. Some people went wearing their GymCastic shirts, which is awesome. Thank you guys for doing that. There was just a sale in the store. So I hope you guys have gotten your stuff for the upcoming meet so you can represent your favorite gymnast or podcast. So Shiley Jones and Addison Feta have been added to the big Classic, which is the one in Chicago that Simone and Suni are on the roster for. And of course, the Fate already qualified through camp scores and assignments. And then Shiley's, of course, is already qualified to championships because of Worlds. So just a fun practice meet for all the people that are already qualified for Worlds.
Yeah. Get out there. Shake your falls out, which we saw a lot of that at American Classic.
Exactly.
So,
it's a good time for that, which we're going to discuss. So Worlds draws are out. Does it matter who's competing when? How early is Simone going to have to get up in the morning? That's what really matters.
No, the U.S. got a nighttime. The U.S. got it. So basically for the women, or the U.S. women got a nighttime, I should say. For the women, qualification is split onto 2 days. There are only 3 subdivisions on the first day at night, and then the other 7 are the next day. The only really just interesting thing of note, not necessarily significant, is how many of the top teams are in those first 3 subdivisions on the first night. Like the US is there, Great Britain, Italy, the Netherlands. There are a lot of the top teams in those first couple subdivisions, and then more subdivisions the next day. China got the final subdivision. They're like, remember that time when we got the first subdivision 19 years in a row? Those days are over. We get to go last.
I'm very excited to see how China does with this, because it was always, a conspiracy theory that they were being sabotaged with the first sessions. So we'll see if it makes any difference. German championships happened.
I will say one more thing. It's also a very good subdivision for the U.S. women in terms of people in the United States wanting to follow it. I would say watch. I mean, at this point, who knows if you could watch qualification? It would be a miracle if you could watch qualification. But it's on a Sunday at 11:45 a.m. Eastern, 8:45 Pacific, the U.S. women's qualification. So if you can watch it, if there is some way, not that anyone would want to watch Simone returning to Worlds, theoretically, allegedly, if she makes the team, it's Simone. But, you know, if someone would want to do that and could, it would be at a very good time. So it's a good fan draw, I would say, for the U.S. women.
It's 100% going to be streamed. They're going to stream probably nothing out from qualifications except that subdivision. That's going to be it. I'm just telling you. Especially if it has 2 Olympic champions in it on the same team, which has never happened before since the 1957 or whatever it was. Since the 1957. That's a band that also plays with the 1975. Okay, so German championships happen, and we talked a lot about the German championships on behind the scenes this week because
Did we talk a lot about the German championships, or did we talk about one leotard that Jessica wanted to talk about?
I'm really getting to that. That's what we talked about. My favorite, Pauline Schaefer, competed in her unitard like she normally does, but this one had fishnet on the sides and some of the bodice and the whatever cutout. Like whatever the size of your body is called, your trunk area.
Whatever the sides of your body are called. Yeah.
The side of your middle organ stuffing area.
What did you study in school again?
Exercise
what
science.
Was it?
I didn't take a whole year of anatomy. Yeah.
So what are the sides of the body called? Sides.
Your non-organ holding below your lungs. Everybody knows what that. Now it's clear, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got it.
So I anticipate the FIG is going to have a letter that they make now that is like just like the letter that they wrote about not wearing cat makeup. That we love it, but you can't do it anymore. They're going to have a fishnet rule. I'm anticipating this happening, but I also loved it, and it looked beautiful on her. Somehow neon leotard and fishnet, it still looks good when she wears it, doing her side flip quarter turn on beam, which she still does perfectly every single time, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, other things happened at German championships besides that unitard. Spencer.
Elizabeth Seitz happened. 7th national championship won by Elizabeth Seitz in the all-around.
Freaking amazing. 7th.
She's like, Germany, catch up. I have been better than everyone else for like a long time.
That's going to be really good for them to have her back at Worlds and competing there. Not that she went anywhere, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's always
with a lot of retirements.
Elizabeth Seitz, but in particular right now, in a generational change, and Kim Bui retiring, when they have Elizabeth Seitz and Paulina Schaefer around, they have a lot of experience. They're not lacking for people who've been there, done that, and know how it goes. Right? That's what you're getting at there?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Experience. Nothing can rattle them. They've been through it all. Okay.
Jessica, getting to this bars final at Worlds, though, I'm looking ahead. Making the bars final at Worlds this year. Because you have people like Elizabeth Seitz. Oh, of course she should be in the bars final. It's Elizabeth Seitz. There are more than 8 people who, of course, should be in the bars final, and it's going to get serious. It's very exciting.
What score do you think you'll need to just make it? A 15?
No, not a 15. No, it won't take a 15.
14.5?
That's real. That's realistic that you would need to go 14.5 or better.
Yeah, 14.5 or
15 better. Is what you need to be aiming for a medal, I think. Though. Maybe if they get a little harsher on the execution, it can go lower. But if we have people like Kilian Nemor and Chi Chu-yen and maybe Suni, depending on her composition, do I have a notebook next to me right now where I'm just like writing down notes of possible bars routines that Suni could do? Yes, I do. That's just sitting here next to me on the desk as needed. When I'm like, I don't want to do what I'm supposed to be doing. Maybe I'll just make a bars routine for Suni. That's what's happening. She could get there too. If you have, your 6-9D, your low 8 execution, because that's what's good now, you're around a 15. I think if you're thinking I want to win a medal, Nina, high 6 is a D, 15 final score. I think that's what it's going to take for medals.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I had an idea, Spencer. My
Yeah.
idea is AI versus Spencer. So, yeah, I know you're like, I'll already win. But the idea
You
is
cut
like,
out, so I missed it. It just sounded to me like you said, I have an idea, AI. And then it ended like you just invented AI. That's all I got. We had a little blip in the audio there.
so the idea is we have our listeners try to create it's like basically what's the highest possible D score on any event? AI versus Spencer. So you try to come up with like what's humanly possible, not just like that you can actually and
Because there are the
see.
YouTube videos of like Nastia doing an 8.0 D score on bars.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So could AI come up with something that you haven't thought of? And this is because like this
Obviously,
is a skill.
AI could come up with something I haven't thought of. It's AI.
But not that you can't humanly do. This is where I think AI would fail. And really, like, so the idea is like you have to construct your prompts correctly, which is the real skill of AI. And see. I love this idea, Spencer.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, let's make it a contest. Send in your ideas. You have to send in the prompt so we know it's real.
My current AI versus Spencer idea for Suni's bars. So, and tell me if she's like trained this or in videos because I don't always see them.
Okay.
Could she do like the Van Leeuwen to immediate ginger instead of the Maloney to ginger? Because I would like to make the routine more efficient, and I feel like if she did Van Leeuwen to high bar ginger, that would help a lot.
Toe on half, shaposh
toe on shaposh half, immediate ginger.
Yes.
I would like that because she's been doing the Maloney toe on shaposh to in bar ginger. I would like the Van Leeuwen to ginger.
So doing it outside of the bar, the ginger outside the bars versus in between the bars, which is called an in-bar ginger, which I always want to make sure for everybody that it's getting to the point where we need to like everybody that's new to this and they got into college and now we're having the 4-year people come back.
We do need I always appreciate a Spencer translation service.
Yes. So
I need closed captioning.
I mean, the thing is, could she do it? Yes, obviously, she could do it from a dead hang, and it would be beautiful. But could she do it in a way that it's worth the amplitude deductions, the potential amplitude deductions? So she actually,
yeah,
right. That's the skill.
Yes. That is always the question when you're talking about Suni. When you're talking about Simone, it's like, could she do it? Yes.
Yes, obviously.
Should she do it?
Right. I mean, she always gets so much swing out of her any kind of transition, those shaposh transitions, because she catches the bar at exactly the perfect time to tap out of it. Like she'd never met a dead hang out of anything. So, yeah.
Because I'm trying to get it so that she can connect everything and not have, no cast hand, just start, then cast handstand dismount. And fulfill all her requirements and have the 6.9 D score that I'm trying to get there, and that would help. That would help the composition.
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
She could. So then you're gonna have her do.
I was looking for.
So out of the bar, outside the bar, ginger like a regular person would do it, and then she goes in and does a hard wash out of it.
Well, I have a couple options. I have pages of options, Jessica. Come on.
Okay, I want to talk about this. So I'm going to get for helping everybody that's listening who doesn't have this all these skills memorized in their head.
Remember when we were going to talk about American Classic? We'll get there. But now we're going to spend 9 hours talking about potential bars.
She does a toe. She does a toe on. She shoots up towards the high bar. She half turns. She grabs the high bar. She swings away from the low bar. She does a flyaway, flips in a pike position, half turns, grabs the high bar again. Now she's swinging towards the low bar. Does she hard wash, full twisting pack out of that to the low bar?
That's a possibility. Another possibility I have is that's the end of the combination, and then she can do hop, grip, change, front giant half to go the right direction and fulfill the grip change requirement, and then dismount. That's a possibility.
So kip
but
out
I would maybe have like a combination. I think is possible would be like Stalder on high bar, jump to high bar, Stalder full Nabieva to pack. To Seitz, full twisting shaposh to hard wash.
Yes.
To Van Leeuwen.
Oh, so toe on right out of the hard wash. She's done that before, right? Yeah.
If she hasn't, it's one of those things like, could she? Yes.
Okay, so Seitz, Bahardwaj,
To
full distance
Bahardwaj,
to
to
Van
Van
Leeuwen, to One Shapash
to
after
Ginger.
to Ginger. And then she just does a kip, cast, half turn, triple back.
Do your grip change so that she can fulfill grip change requirement.
Okay, so do like a front,
and then front
giant,
hop grip change, front giant,
half turn,
and then
full out or whatever she normally does.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I'm into that for a 6'9".
Okay.
That's a possibility. That's my latest one. And now I just have tally marks of deductions from watching American Classic and seeing what I think E-scores should be and how much lower I think they should be than what they got.
Oh, yeah. We have to talk about some of the scores because I was like, okay, so American Classic, you guys. Yes. This is the first major, besides Winter Cup. Winter Cup's so early, it's like, but Winter Cup is a qualifier to championships. So we have this graphic, which we put on the socials for you, which is and we're going to show it right now. It is a graphic of how you qualify to championships. And that is, so this was before the American Classic. And basically these are qualifiers in kind of your warm-up meet. So you need either a 51 all around to qualify to championships. If you haven't qualified through, you were on the world team, you got an assignment, you were at Pan Ams, you were at a World Cup in 2023, or you were you went to national team camp and you did verification routines and got a 51. You need to get a 39 on 3 events or a 26.4, right? On two events.
Right. So average you're 13.2 on your 2 events.
The less you do, the better you have to be. So
yes, which I'm fine with. If you're going to be a specialist, you better be, really good on those too.
I think a 13 is pretty generous for a specialist. Yeah, but considering these scores, not
That's
so
why
much.
It helps if vault is almost always one of your events. If you're a 2-event qualifier.
And American Classic also historically has been kind of a like, I'm a level 10, and I want to see if I really want to do this. Let's see how you score, how you, can tolerate, like, you're out of school and now it's summer and you have to train even harder all summer, which is a real issue. You wanted to go on vacation with your family? No.
Yeah. The thing is that you do have to qualify for American Classic as an elite. Yeah. So you already have to have gotten an elite qualifying score. Technically, this is the same meet as US Classic. The qualifying score to get there is the same. The requirements to get there are the same. You can also qualify to nationals from this meet. If it were me, I would be focusing on American Classic because I'm like, oh my God, this is so much less of a thing than US Classic. Like, this is just it's very much a gym meet. Like, it feels much more chill. They didn't even introduce the athletes by name, and I was like, what is that actually about? They just said the gym. I thought that was weird. That always
weird. So weird, because they won't do that at Classic. It's super weird that they did that. And they had I did not understand that. But yeah, to back up your point, I'll let you finish in 1 second, Spencer. Yeah. Don't worry. But I will let you talk again. But yeah, you still have to qualify as an elite. You have to get a compulsory. They still have compulsory as an elite, which are not really routines. They're skills. Simone Biles hated these, and her coach Amy hated these. They were just like, really, you're the best gymnast in the world. We can't pass our whatever dumb split leap thing. Her leaps are fine. So, yeah, continue. They didn't introduce anyone by name. The hell?
That was weird. But I would definitely have, if I was trying to get my national score, I would absolutely have used this meet because it felt like, it's obviously a lot of pressure. You're at camp, all the specials are there, like all the people are there watching you, but it's like so much less than an arena meet, like a US Classic. So I would have been like, this is the one where I'm going to try to get my score most of all, because, I always assume that everyone's having like an anxiety, nervous breakdown at every moment, which they might be, but when I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I imagine how much anxiety everyone's suffering right now because I'm projecting.
Yeah, I totally understand that. You guys should just compete in another freaking gym that you've probably been to a bunch of times because they have camp there. It's not even like a gym you haven't been in before. There's no arena. There's not really a crowd. It's a totally
Mostly
different
just parents,
atmosphere.
yeah.
Right. And it has traditionally, I mean, it's always just been in a gym. It was a camp. It's always been at camp. So it's not ever been like a real meet in terms of elite level arena, which most people, their real meets are, you know, in a gym or in a, you know, some kind of sports hall, but not an arena. Okay. Also, I want to remind people, because I saw a lot of people asking about this before we talk about Melanie and her beautiful, beautiful, beautiful beam routine. Oh,
Guys.
oh my God, I can't wait. I have so much to say about it. But I want to remind people, because I saw some people asking about this on the socials, like Threads, which we're on now, by the way. People are asking where they can find start lists and the E&D scores. So I want to remind everybody, there is an app from USA Gymnastics called My USA Gym. And you can go to the app and the website. Both of those, you can favorite whatever gymnast you want to follow. Find the meet they're in, be like Melanie, click on her, favorite her. And then you can see the E&D scores, and you can also see all the scores, and you can organize them by like who won this event if you don't care about all around, because who really cares? It's really about the individual events everybody knows. So My USA Gym app, you can see the E&D scores and you can follow people. There's the app and the website, and they have sort of different functionality. So use both. So anyway, that's my pro tip for you. Okay. Melanie DeJesus dos Santos, which for some reason the USA system can't capitalize the right letters in her name on the start list, but her routine on beam is so beautiful. Spencer, what do you want to say about it?
I want to say the word yes more times. This is, you know, with Melanie, as we've talked about many times over the years, it's never been a question of talent and or performance ability or anything like that. She's always been one of the most talented gymnasts in the world. This routine was the peak of confident work on beam. Maybe the best I've ever seen her do on beam, at least in terms of the fluidity of movement, the confidence of her landings, her posture. She was just there. She didn't look like she was feeling it. She was ready to hit this routine for a huge score, which she did, over 14. It was excellent.
What I love about the strategy of having Melanie, who I love that USAG is letting her compete as a guest in these competitions too, because it's so good for her and it's good for the other gymnasts to be like, oh, do you want to know what the competition is? Yeah, there's Simone in the Olympic team, but this is also the competition and she's right here, and you should know what people who make finals look like at the elite level. It's her right there. And see all that artistry and dance on beam? Yeah, that's her. So she's competing for France. She just competed at the French championships. But it's such a good strategy because she is finally competing in meets that don't matter, and she's just getting that experience. And I feel like the thing that I love about this routine is the hair flip on after her series, hair flip. Like, she's keeping some choreo from what she did on Simone's tour. You know, same routine as French championships, I think she did here. But
this was like the hit one.
Yes, this was like, I am just enjoying myself and I will do the routine that I like to. This is what I do in practice. Thank you very much. Oh, it's a competition. I don't care because I'm so confident. This routine is like an NCAA grown-up adult choreography meets what the FIG means when they say artistry in the code. Especially her sideways choreography series, which is one of the things they've implemented, not because they love sideways choreography, but because they want people to actually dance. And it does not look like I turn sideways, I have to do the Macarena and the YMCA right now before I turn around and make it count. No, it's so pretty. It's so confident. It's so grown up. This is a woman doing her gymnastics, and I am so happy for her. God, I love Melanie.
I feel like this was the best example at this competition of involvement of the body parts, which is one of those artistry classifications that we make fun of because we're like, what, your spleen has to do choreography? Because it's a funny way of phrasing that. But you do see like shoulders, neck, head. It's not just step and arm. And we saw a lot of, I have to do side choreography, so I'm going to do a crossover step and move my arm. And now I did side choreography, which is not really sufficient. I would not classify that as sufficient involvement of the body parts.
Yes. How did she do on bars? Because as we know, she is incredible on bars as well.
She is incredible on bars. Also hit on bars. We saw the Nabieva. She didn't do one of her combinations. She didn't connect Nabieva to pack, so it was a little bit lower than her D score at French Championships, but a good hit routine. Scored over a 14 for it. I didn't think it was quite as smooth as the one at French Championships. She was a little tighter on some of the handstand positions, but little things, solid hit overall. But the highlight for me was her beam performance. Because bars was more like, yeah, that's what we expect. Beam, this is always her capability. We don't always see it. And we saw her perform beam to her capability. And for an 8-2 E score, even with a pretty large deduction on dismount, because she landed short, lunge forward, she's given away a number of tenths on that dismount, but still got an 8-2, which maybe is the scoring at this competition, because 8-2 at Worlds would be like, okay, you won the E-score award on beam if you're getting an 8-2 at Worlds, but
yes,
a really good performance.
Yeah. I mean, an 8-2, I mean, that's ridiculously high. I'm so excited.
Club Gym Nerd. Get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, and extra podcasts every week, athlete dossiers, code guides, commission your own segments of the show. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
TumbleTrack is having a sale on carpet bonded foam, so you can make sure every inch of your gym is carpeted. And TumbleTrack accessories, they're having 10% off all the stuff to power up your TumbleTrack. So check it out on the sales tab on their website. Visit TumbleTrack, that's TUMBLTRAK, TumbleTrack, train smart. Okay, another returning world medalist here is Kayla DiCello, who's been at Florida competing, went to the 2021 World Championships in Japan, and now she is returned to elite, taking a year off to prepare for Paris, right? She's one of the ones that's also deferring a year. So,
first of all, I would like to say congratulations on not accidentally saying Kayla DiCello.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm so proud. It's been a journey, and it's just your hard work in the gym is really paying off.
Thank you so much. I just want to come out here and hit 4 for 4. And
you've hit like 2 so far for Kayla DiCello's. So we're halfway through the meet. We got to hit 2 more as we go, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see. You're rotating to beam now because we're going to talk about her whole meet. Toughest one to hit, but we'll see how it goes. Right. Kayla DiCello performed 2 events here. She did vault and beam. Solid Yurchenko full on vault. That's a downgrade from college, where she's been performing the 1.5. This very much felt like just get out there, do some routines kind of thing. See how it goes, get comfortable. She'll perform at US Classic, but it didn't seem like she was going all out, just Yurchenko full on vault, did not dismount on beam, just a back tuck. So she was not doing the routine she would intend to do. I also hope some of that beam composition was a placeholder, because I would make some different decisions about some leaps if I were composing that routine. But, it's early. It's American Classic.
So I did hear from 2 of the gym nerds there in the audience that she warmed up a split jump full. What are your feelings on that?
She performed a split leap full in the routine that I would say... my first reaction would be like, get that out of that routine. It's gone.
Because
it's a downgrade, and then it's 3/10 for lack of split, and then maybe feet, knees, precision is the deduction for any season. Like, it's one of those things where my test is always like, would you have scored higher if you had just stood there and done nothing? Which is, it sounds harsh, but it's like, if a skill is worth 3/10 and there are more than 3, I'm identifying more than 3/10 in deductions, you would have scored higher if you had just stood there. And that's, that's one of those things.
I always think about this in the Golden Series when Suni's coaches are watching her do beam and they're adding up her deductions. And at one point, one says like, okay, and then 3/10 just for doing a dismount. We take that. And then like, no deductions, just you performed a skill. So 3/10. That's literally how beam deductions work. Breathing. Okay. Oh, good times. Okay, so it was just like a warm up, get back at it.
Yeah, it felt very much like I'm just. She was one of the few, well, really the only of that like I would say her group of gymnasts, like the people who've been on world's teams before, world medalists before, she was the only one of the many of them who intend to compete this summer who elected to compete at American Classic. I think, which I like. I love that she's like, yeah, I'll go out there, do some skills. I'm glad that we're no longer in the era of like, to be seen in the light of day, you have to be at 100% preparation, and otherwise, your routine cannot be seen. Like, yeah, she's not quite ready yet. She's doing, some skills here, some skills there. Great. Fine. Do it. I love to see it.
So, what are some of we should actually talk about who won at the senior level competition.
I would love to talk about who won, because
talk about scores.
This individual, I would love to talk about scores, obviously, but also because I think this individual who won, Myli Lew, performed, of the all-arounders, performed the most enjoyable, best executed gymnastics, and as someone I'm excited to see continue to compete for the rest of the summer, because she did win the senior all-around and got her qualifying score to championships, so we should see a lot more of Myli Lew, who if you're watching along with us, she got a 14.25 for this bars routine, which ranks second in the US this year. Only Zoe Miller has scored higher on bars. So this is the number 2 bars routine of those who have competed so far. But that's a huge score on bars, especially for a 5.7 D score. That's a really high execution score. And we saw some really high quality elements in this routine, particularly that Stalder full on low bar at the beginning, because she's actually finishing it like in a vertical position that, if we talk about, do you have a few enough deductions to make this skill worth it? I would say yes, you're finishing vertically enough that you would have few enough deductions to make a Stalder full worth it, which not everyone does. So that was really enjoyable to see. She was able to get pretty far over the qualifying score she needed, even with a fall on beam and a placeholder pass on floor. She just did a layout as one of her passes on floor, which wouldn't be, the ultimate intent there. So that was really exciting, both for the gymnastics she did and her potential going forward, and scoring even higher as we see as the summer progresses. But really, really nice performance.
Yep. I also appreciate that USCG put up some of these winners' videos out, and Melanie DiCello Santos, who obviously also won all the things, but she's not eligible to win because she competes for France. So that was nice of them to put those up on the socials. I want to talk about Amelia Disidore. We've talked about her before. I'm very glad she won vault, because, I wrote my notes and then was like, oh, I should look at the scores and where people rank, make sure I didn't miss anyone's routine.
I don't think you were going out on a limb to say that she would be the vault winner at this competition.
Well, I didn't even that's what I'm saying. I didn't write her down because of what I thought that she would win, because that has nothing to do with my feelings. I wrote her down because of only my feelings. Her vault, she did a DTY, a double twisting Yurchenko. My God, if you want to know, if you want to teach physics, astrophysics, if you want to work for NASA, study her vault. That is what I'm going to tell you. She hits the vault at such a perfect angle. She just goes straight up in the air. The important thing you will learn from this, if you're going to use it for your biomechanics or physics project, like I always did in school, it was always some kind of gymnastics. I would say that the thing that this is lacking is rotation, because she goes so far up in the air. She twists. It's freaking amazing. It's perfect. It's beautiful. She goes so high up, finishes the twist, but then she just goes straight to the ground. She did not rotate and flip it over enough. So she lands with her chest really far forward, which of course is always like back, hard on your back. But it is just gigantic. Like, I feel like every college coach saw that and was like, did we sign her yet? What is the status? Where's the collective? Get Livvy Fund on the phone and shoot her all the money right now. Oh my God, it's such a beautiful vault. I mean, it's like EB level, like Maroney level technique. And I'm not saying it's their height or the perfection of the total vault, but the angle and her form in the air and the twist. Oh, I watched it so many times, Spencer. And then I was like, why didn't they put this up in slow motion? Why do I have to go frame by frame, make my own slow motion video of it? That's how great it is. So
What you're
Amelia
saying is
Disidore.
if this were the 80s and the standard for getting a 10 was just being the best one in front of you at the moment, this is your 10. This is your 10 on vault.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously. Oh, it was just beautiful. Also, I want to talk about some juniors. Well, not junior. Well, some are juniors and some are hopes. And basically, it just has to do with you're elite, but you're too young yet. So there's like 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds, and then there's junior elites. That's my understanding of it. And that's how I'm going to explain it. So anyway, I want to talk about Aki Tanda. Have you watched her before?
I have not.
This
is a brand new experience for me as we're watching it, if you're watching along with us.
You guys. Okay. So she's still just a hope. So she's like 13 or 14. She is another one that I feel like colleges have probably already given her in junior high, have given her offers.
Jessica's saying there are a lot of recruiting violations going on right now.
Yes, they probably already they're hanging outside the window watching her. She has so much power, first of all, for such a little, like, a youngster still. Her choreography is so good at this level, like hitting her spots, hitting the marks, having an attitude and presence in her gymnastics. I would say that it is like, it's kind of like if she were to go to it looks like she's already going to a good NCAA choreography school, or she's like a 6th year in NCAA at one of those schools. Plus, she's like a Gadarova, Italy level style of presence on floor in her artistry. Like, the FIG is going to take this routine. I'm sure when Donatella, the women's technical committee president who's in charge of the code and all the rules and all that stuff, when she came to camp, she was probably like, Aki, do your routine again and show everybody how you hit your marks and are so expressive. I just love her. I can't get enough of her. So I just wanted to point her out as an enjoyable floor routine that everybody should be watching for style. Also, she hair flips and then like chokes herself with her hair at the end. Like, it's so excellent. I love it. So, I love a hair pull, hairography. Oh, she's so excellent. Okay. Also, did you notice that there's like 6 juniors? She was in the Hopes meet, but the juniors, there's like 6 of them that got over a 51.
High scores for the juniors. They beat the seniors.
Yeah.
Which we don't see that very much anymore.
Right. That used to be a thing, but not so much. But also, like, I feel like the seniors, everybody wasn't there, and the seniors aren't really going for all their stuff.
It's not, yeah.
But I'm excited for you, juniors. I just wanted to give you guys a shout out. Did you watch Reese Esponda on floor? Do you remember watching her? Also a junior. Senior elite. She was in the senior elite.
She's a junior elite.
Oh, she is a junior. Okay, that's what I thought. Because I was like, didn't someone else? Yeah, who won floor? It was Michelle Pineda, who we're going to talk about, who won floor. Okay, so first of all, her tumbling. So she has a casual double-double, and then her second pass is like a full in. Because she's an American junior. So obviously that's what she has. She does it. The thing that I love about this training is, I'm always talking about the cool things that you do it's a good routine, if all the kids want to go in the hallway and try out what you just did in your routine. And here is one of them coming up right here. She does a full twisting shushanova to a head spring. It's almost a butterfly, but then she drops to a butterfly. Yeah, but then she drops. It could be a butterfly. It could be a tong fei if she wanted to, a full twisting butterfly. That's a tong fei. But she just drops it down to a push-up position, then does a freaking head spring out of it. You know how I love a head spring. You know how I love a full twisting shove, like a shushanova and a tong fei. She also ends her routine by doing a double back and then stepping forward and doing a gainer front tuck to one knee and ending in superhero pose. You know superhero pose, right, Spencer?
When you're superhero posing? We'll see it right now. On one knee, hand down. Yeah.
Where you're like, I just landed and now I'm ready to fight. And you like look up from your knee position and at the enemy and you're like, that's it for you, bad character in the Marvel universe. And then you fight.
Well, the writer's strike is over. Jessica's here with our beautiful, elegant script writing here. Time is over for you, bad character.
You know why it's so important to have that moment? Because you know when you're in a real fight, how the other person always waits around and doesn't just kick you in the face when you're down there and you've landed like that on your knee. They're just like, oh, I'll just wait here for you to get up to finish the fight. It's super realistic, gives everyone time to have a monologue. So, I just want to say, Reese Esponda, you guys, all the cool moves, obsessed with her already. Already want to try everything. Was there anyone that stood out to you, Spencer?
I did. You just mentioned Michelle Pineda winning floor in the senior division. She's also another one who I will say understood the assignment on sideward choreography on beam and what you're supposed to do. It wasn't just Melanie being like, "Dear Americans, this is how you do it," which I did feel like a lot of this competition was a letter called "Dear Americans, Learn from Me." But there was also Michelle Pineda also had an excellent beam routine, and I think we've talked about that before. She's a delight to watch. And some people were also, to go back to Melanie, because how could one resist? There were questions about sort of like, not that anyone's mad that she's competing at classic meets, but why is she, like, what's the difference between that and nationals? Why is she able to compete at classics and not at nationals? My understanding is that you're allowed to apply to compete as a guest, even if you're not eligible to represent the U.S., except at meets that are selection for like a competition or a national team, which U.S. Championships is selection for a national team. So that's my understanding of what the rules are and when athletes who are internationally or registered with the FIG to represent another country are able to compete at U.S. meets and when they're not.
Yeah. I really like that they're letting her compete, because then there isn't this whole like someone will steal our routines. But then you can't go to selection meets where, you know, people are going to do their final routine. So I want to just take a moment and mention that we have everything you could possibly need available in our store at gymcastic.com, the store tab, to represent whoever you want to at a gymnastics meet, or in your workplace, just walking down the street on a Saturday afternoon, whatever you're doing. But if you're going to a meet and you want to represent, like if you want a Suni shirt or a, you know, Simone Biles shirt, or you want a giant tapestry that has Takeoff and Gay split on rights on it, there are Gymnastics is for everyone with a giant rainbow and a Yurchenko happening, and you want to hold it up for everyone to see at the meet. We have that in there. So you want to order it now so you get it in time for these competitions. So don't forget the store. It's a very fun place where artists and fans can share their art and everyone benefits from it. So we get a little bit, a portion, the artists get a portion, the people that uploaded their art on there too. That's what I love about the store that we use. Like everyone wins. And the athletes who get to see representation of them in the audience. So please enjoy the store, gymcastic.com.
Some people just like to give us no strings attached money. They don't want to bother with joining Club Gym Nerd, and so they just donate. You can find our donate button for a no strings attached donation at the bottom of the club page at gymcastic.com/club.
I want to talk about some Gymternet news. First up, I want to get dumpster fire news out of the way. Number one, I'm going to mention he who shall not be named. So if you want to fast forward for a minute, that's totally fine. So former doctor, imprisoned former doctor Larry Nassar was stabbed in prison. So this is per the Associated Press. He was stabbed multiple times in an altercation, stabbed in the chest and the back, and he's in stable condition now, but they think he's going to have to be moved to yet another prison. The first prison he was in, if you guys remember way back in the day, he was attacked in one of those sock battery attacks. I can't remember what they call it, but basically you put all your, just in case you guys are ever in a situation where you need to defend yourselves, the sock, put a bunch of batteries in it, and then you can use it as a weapon. So I'm surprised this didn't happen sooner, honestly, because most people that have committed his crimes have to be in solitary for life. So that happened. Other news that's happening, and this is very nuanced, so I don't want you to get freaked out about it right away and be like, oh my God, Russia's back in the competition, or oh my God, I'm so excited, Russia's back in the competition. I just want to clarify carefully how we talk about this story. So per Inside the Games, after a vote by the Olympic Council of Asia, Russia and Belarusian athletes can now compete in the rescheduled Asian Games. This is not the Asian Championships, which we've just had. This was a qualifier to Worlds. This is the Asian Games, which were rescheduled because of COVID. So right now, the Asian Games is not a qualifier to...
it's definitely not a qualifier in gymnastics for the Olympics.
Right.
So the Asian Games has no qualification implications for gymnastics for the Olympics. It actually runs right into Worlds. They just are going on at the same time, run right into each other. So it's kind of not a great schedule for gymnasts anyway. And there were articles this year about Carlos Yulo being like, I have to prioritize Worlds because that's where I'm going to qualify to the Olympics rather than prioritizing Asian Games.
Yep. It's not on the FIG calendar. The thing about this that is interesting is that the article from Inside the Game says that it will be up to the governing bodies of each of the 31 sports that are competing in Asian Games and the program for the Paris Olympics to decide whether to allow athletes from Russia and Belarus. So it could be that the FIG or one sport like wrestling is like yes, and gymnastics says no, or whatever. But right now it's not a qualifier, so they have to change that to make it a qualifier for Paris. So these are September 23rd to October 8th, and again they're allowing Russian and Belarusian athletes to take part under a neutral flag, no national symbols, the same how it is that they've been competing like this, and they're not permitted to win any medals. But the real thing is if the FIG suddenly changed their minds and were like, oh, we're going to add this as a qualifier because they missed an opportunity, but I don't see why they would do that. But
they are not going to they're not going to add this as an Olympic qualifier. What's interesting to me, I think, first of all, also it's not on the FIG calendar, so I actually don't know whether the FIG is governing gymnastics at this competition this year. They have in the past.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But the article from Inside the Games does talk about, the governing bodies, which the FIG is the governing body for gymnastics, of course. The interesting thing to me is what this is going to indicate for precedent, what sports elect to allow athletes from Russia and Belarus, and how that's going to influence the potential that we still have for Russian athletes to compete as unaffiliated individuals next year in the Olympic qualifiers, like the Apparatus World Cups, like the European Olympic or the European Champion Continental Qualifier. Because we've been talking about that as a possibility, a game changer. Are the Russian athletes going to try to get those apparatus spots or not? It's going to change a lot of opportunities, potential for qualifying for other athletes like Oksana Chusovitina. So this I'm going to be watching in terms of, the FIG has never really been a leader in terms of its decision making in like whether countries should be allowed or not. They kind of take their cue from whichever way the wind is blowing. So this will is the first thing that will tell us which way the wind is blowing. And that's why I'm watching this for gymnastics purposes.
So we have some exciting news on the feminist gymnast saves the day and uses her platform for good news. The Livvy Fund. The Livvy Fund. No done. The Livvy Fund. So Sports Illustrated reported that Olivia Dunne has launched this fund. And after Olivia Dunne, of course, at LSU and has been on the social medias for 10, 11 years now and is the highest paid athlete in NCAA, female athlete in NCAA. She found out that most of, she says, because as much as 66% of the money being raised by NIL, name, image, likeness collectives, goes to male athletes, Dunne hopes the Livvy Fund is the first step in the right direction for equality. So she was like, what? 66% all this money that's raised is going to the boys? No. So if you want to participate in this, you can donate to this. You can make a one-time donation or monthly or annual payments. This is interesting. I was talking to a coach about this, about how alumni used to give payments. They used to donate to a specific program. And now a lot of those donations are going to the collectives, because the collectives are then how you can do what you're seeing a lot of these colleges do, which is there's a scholarship limit, but there's not a collective pays you through NIL limit. So you can recruit, 50 people on a team, and all of them can have school paid for, and you're still not over the scholarship limit. So it's going to be interesting to see how that affects programs long term that don't keep up with the collective funds. It's also going to be interesting to see if the teams that do that, if you can recruit the best gymnasts because you can pay everybody and you still can't win, then it's not a talent problem, it's a program problem. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, I think it's more complicated than that, but yes.
But yeah, essentially. That's what I'm saying. So I'm really excited for her to do this. I think it's really cool, and I love that she's doing this, and that she's using her platform to equal the playing field. So what happened the last time that the FIG held a meeting and they were like, hey, does anyone want to bid on Worlds?
Oh, how the last we heard, no one had bid on the 2027 World Championships.
Yes.
So maybe news has changed, but the last I heard, they were like, so we said, who wants to spend money? And everyone was like, no.
So I'm hoping this report changes that. So the BBC is reporting that hosting the World Championships for gymnastics last year in 2022, Liverpool generated $5.6 million for Liverpool's economy.
Pounds.
There was pounds, even more than dollars. So they had an independent study that looked at how much money was generated for Liverpool. And that's the thing, those championships were so well attended. 35,000 spectators attended, 47 schools went, 3,000 school children went. They also had 400 volunteers. That was pretty cool. Being a volunteer and seeing the behind the scenes of those is pretty awesome. There's a lot of gym nerds that do that and are just like, this is the best thing ever. So yeah, I hope that inspires other regions. Like, where would be your ideal besides Hawaii to host Worlds?
I love that you're asking me this, because my ideal host would be my own home.
Okay, so LA.
No, but not LA, because there's nowhere close enough to me that would make it convenient, so it would still be inconvenient. Yeah. So that I am the worst person to ask about that, because it's like, where can I not go? Where can I stay in bed? That's the metaverse. Maybe is my ideal host.
Metaverse. You guys, I am so excited for all of these new like virtual headset things. Like, you have the Oculus now, and now Apple's coming out with their it's not even a headset. It's like a computer that you can wear on your face, but it changes the spatial computing. Yeah. And then you have it almost looks like you have 3D images, like you can interact with people in 3D and look around. Anyway, it looks so freaking cool. I'm so excited for that to come to gymnastics, because they have VR and other sports right now. And my ideal is you don't have to have a camera from the judge's perspective. You have 10 cameras all around the apparatus, and you can see what the deductions do for every angle. Right. It's your dream, Spencer. Yeah. Where do you want to go for Worlds? Nowhere. I want to sit in bed with a camera on my face and see every angle of deductions and see how many times the judges look down and aren't looking at the actual gymnastics being done.
This is what I'm saying. Locations are over. We're post places. That's what I'm trying to express here. It's over. I mean, I do think for big events like the Olympics, we should be post cities, like a single city. This is not working. We need to change the game. But that's another thing. What about you? Because you do enjoy going places. So what would be your ideal host?
My ideal would be a walkable city that is somewhere that's very quaint and has nice fall weather and public transportation, and you can bike anywhere. This is the nice thing about where are we going? Antwerp? Is that where we are this year? Antwerp.
Yes,
I was like
good
somewhere.
one.
Ghent, Antwerp,
You
whatever.
sound ready.
Yeah, I'm totally ready. We already have everything done. So that's why I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, I like to not, I want to be able to stay in a place that's affordable. Oh, this is the other thing about it. I want it to be
You want
in the
some place
middle,
to be both nice and affordable? Jessica.
low crime. And I want the arena to be around
No smoking.
things like we can walk to food and walk to a restaurant, and you're not stuck in an industrial complex with nothing around for miles and miles, which is A, scary at midnight when you leave the venue, and B, there's nothing to eat. So food and public transportation, I want to be able to see it when I walk out of the venue, like Liverpool. That was what was great about that. And yeah, so anywhere like that, I don't really care where it is. Those are my I'd like to be able to drink the water out of the tap. That's another thing that's handy. And I know that's not possible everywhere in the world, but I do enjoy that. I like to not have to get like bottled water to brush my teeth. It's the little things, Spencer. Not having to strap myself onto the toilet from violent diarrhea. That's one of the things that
And you would like it to be a place where they're going to be able to fill the stands.
That is the other big thing. Like, really fill the stands. Like, the organizing committee should have a plan so that they sell out. And if they can't sell out, they fill the stands with screaming children or screaming someone's. That's the important thing.
They did that NCAAs at the training day at NCAAs this year. They had all these kids doing some like reading program thing, and Carly Patterson was like, "Congratulations for reading," and Jessica was like, "I didn't know little kids also knew who Livvy was." You were like, "Oh, like these are little kids, and she's famous to them too."
Yeah, Livvy Dunn was just out there like trying to make it through with all her like torn labrums and her multiple shoulders hanging off, like just trying to like make it through warm-ups, and the kids were losing their minds seeing her. She was just like, "Oh, I'm trying. I want to smile, but I'm in so much pain." I want to give a shout out to Rin Keys, who is the first ever U.S. rhythmic gymnast to win a medal at Worlds. So any Worlds. So she's a junior. She won a bronze at Junior Worlds. Wow. That's huge. First ever medal. That's very exciting. Deepa Karmakar is returning at the Asian Games selection trials after her doping ban. So remember when she got India, Deepa Karmakar, good on vault. She's actually good on all the events, actually had great leaps on floor too. But she got banned for doping in 2021. And so now, and she was banned for Hengemine. Hengemine? What does that do?
Gemini? I don't think that's doping.
It sounds perfectly fine. I always expect it to be like a diuretic. I never expect it to be anything else. And it's a weight loss thing. It's in lots of sports supplements. So that is what she was banned for. But now her ban has been lifted, and so she can come back and compete. So Asian Games trials, we'll see if she makes the teams. Do you have any thoughts on like if you had a positive test for doping, how long you should be banned for?
I think I don't. I mean, you did the time. I don't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have a strong opinion. Like whether you mean whether I think it should be a lifetime ban.
Yeah.
I mean, it depends, but I guess I don't think it needs to be a lifetime ban. So much of it is, for me, which you can't really legislate, is about intent. Like, were you trying to cheat? Or was it just like an accident? Because, like, I don't think someone should be banned for life for, like, an accident. But, you know, how do you know? Everyone's always going to pretend it was an accident after the fact, where they're like, my grandma has to take that medication. I feel like that's always, like, the explanation that athletes have in all sports. When they test positive, it's like, no, that's just a medication my grandma takes, and we must have switched our glasses of tea, and I accidentally drank it or something. It's like, that's probably not what happened, though.
You tripped and fell, and it flew up in the air, and you opened your mouth and fell in.
Growth hormone. Yeah.
The thing is, for me, I feel like this, like the diuretics and the weight loss things, I feel like those are more a reflection of the problems with the sport than cheating. And if you feel like you need to have those, right, because those shouldn't be an issue. And especially this is not a weight class sport. If it's a weight class sport, then yeah, that could be considered cheating. But I feel like this isn't a cheating thing. It's a problem with the sport thing. Whereas like roids, human growth hormone, those generally for the cheating. Or you can smoke cigarettes and never do a full floor routine and then show up at Worlds and do it perfectly because you're taking special heart medication. That's cheating.
I agree with you that a lot of like this is the problem with the culture of the sport. But I also think for me, it's less about whether it actually helped you and more whether you were hoping it would. Like, were you trying to cheat?
Right.
Like, did you think it was going to help you have an unfair advantage and that's why you did it? Then that's cheating for me. And it's not so much the actual effect as much as it is the intent to try to get an unfair leg up on the competition.
Yeah. Which there's no way to know someone's intent.
And there's no way. Yeah, there's absolutely no way to know. I'm just saying what I judge harshly versus less harshly in my head.
Yeah.
Well, what I judge harshly is literally every person at every moment of all time. And there's no way to change that. You could never not have that. But, you know, in the scale of judgment, there are still degrees.
Obviously. I feel like you're the kind of person that would like take a little kid into a room and be like, I can tell if you're lying. I already know. And
I would
the
not
elf on the
talk to
shelf.
a little kid.
Elf, I know.
Can you imagine?
The elf on the shelf already told me. And if you lie, then you'll get in trouble. If you tell the truth, you won't. You know, those kind of like, I feel like someone tried that with me once and I was like, I'm not having this. No, absolutely not. But in the future, will we have AI that can tell your intent? Were you trying to cheat or were you trying to, we'll just put like some space thing on your head and that will be it. I just wanted to remind you guys that we have a whole bunch of extra content coming up for club members and all these events. So when we go, if you're new to this, when we go to like a US Classic or US Championships, World Championships, we do a podcast every day from those meets, including covering podium training. And we also do extra and tell you all the stuff you saw in the arena that you couldn't see on broadcasts that we may have seen going on in the stands or elsewhere, like that time that Simone's ex-boyfriend got booed. And we talked about that on our behind the scenes because you couldn't see that on the live stream. We do extra podcasts for you guys to thank you. So all of that is coming up. So if you're not a Club Gym member, now is the time to join because those will be starting. Well, we do one every single week for you, obviously, every Friday at noon Pacific. And you can join live and ask questions, or you can put questions up in the forum. But we'll be starting those at Classic. We'll do a preview and then we do extra shows there. So we have 7 episodes planned for US Championships. That's how much coverage we give you. Like, no stone will go unturned, you guys. We are covering it all. And I'm hoping that we'll be announcing our live show, which will be Saturday, our guest for our live show, which will be Saturday, August 26th. And it'll be like a brunchish, lunchtime-ish show on that day. And so if you're not a Club Gym Nerd member, you want to sign up now because Club Gym Nerd members get first dibs on tickets. And you guys get first dibs on the meet and greet and the sitting in the front row where you get little extra prizes and stuff for. We do giveaways. It's very fun, you guys. I enjoy it very much. And you get, if you're a Club Gym Nerd member, your live show tickets are discounted too. So that's another reason to sign up. So thank you so much for listening, you guys. Thank you for being with us. I can't wait to see what we're going to get to talk about this Friday and behind the scenes because camp is happening. And we're going to see some videos from camp and Simone is there. I'm so excited. So we'll see you guys on Friday for behind the scenes at noon Pacific. And until then, please remember to take off on gay, split on rights, Thank you for listening, and we'll see you on Friday for Behind the Scenes.
This show is created, executive produced, edited, audio engineered, and published by me, Jessica O'Byrne.
Managing editor in charge of show notes, podcast content, and wrangling over enthusiasm is Spencer Barnes.
Our news editor is Uncle Tim of gymnastics-history.com.
And customer service, IT, Gymternet news, and additional production services are provided by Steve Cooper, aka Fact Check.